Hey there, podcast lovers. Looking for a fresh take on the world? Tune into Nikki's World, where we dive into everything hitting the headlines and chat about just what's on our minds. No filters, just real talk. Whether you're sipping your morning coffee or unwinding after a long day, Nikki's World is your go-to for genuine commentary on the real world. Subscribe now if you want to hear the real deal on what's going on. Join the conversation on Nikki's World, where every episode feels like catching up with an old friend. Don't miss out.
What's up, y'all? Let's do this. Oh, hi guys, welcome to Nikki's World. I'm Nikki, your host, and today, guys, we gotta talk about Trump's 100 days yesterday, what he talked about, and why it's so important to highlight that. And then we're gonna talk about the poll numbers, man, because seriously, guys, I don't believe in poll numbers. Poll numbers are biased and skewed, but we're gonna talk about that and so much more. But before we go any further, guys, if you guys love Nikki's World so much, seriously, y'all, can y'all please consider donating a cup of coffee for me? Because for a price of a cup of coffee at Starbucks, Dunkin' Donuts, and Cumberland Farms, guys, you guys help keep this podcast show alive. You guys help me curate more stories, more topics like this to talk about. I do accept Bitcoin donations. I am on Ko-fi, guys. If you guys want to support, sponsor, donate, and tip to Nikki's World. If you guys love Nikki's World so much, seriously, y'all, please hit that like, subscribe, please give me a review. Good, bad, and the ugly. Also, guys, I do have a bunch of affiliate links. First off is Minds.com. Minds.com is a Connecticut based social media company. It is also an alternative to Facebook. So if you guys value your right to freedom of speech and you guys want to say stuff without fear of censorship and you guys want to post stuff that would get you blocked, banned, and suspended from Facebook, then head on over to my friends at Minds.com, guys. So head on over. Also, guys, I do have a link with Byrna. If you value your right to Second Amendment and you value your right to self-defense, but you guys want to do it in a less lethal manner, head on over to my friends at Byrna, guys. They have their top of the line Byrna SD, Byrna LE, TCR, Mission 4, and their newest compact launcher, guys. So if you want to defend yourself, but you want to do it in a less lethal manner, head on over to my friends at Byrna.com. Also, guys, if you know anyone who wears adult diapers, who needs to be put in adult diapers like I do, guys, head on over to my friends at North Shore Medical Supply. They make their top of the line North Shore Megamax diapers, their North Shore Supreme pull-ups, and their Eterna boosters. And if you know someone who needs to be put in diapers, who needs adult diapers like I do, send them on over to my friends at North Shore Medical Supply. they'll pad them up, diaper up, and they'll make sure they're well covered. All right. So, and before we get this show on the road, literally, guys, if you guys love this episode and any of my other episodes on Nikki's World, can y'all please consider sharing this across all the social media platforms that are out there today? Ooh-wee, wow, guys. Ooh-wee. That was a mouthful. That was a mouthful. Yeah, and yes, guys, I am diapered up as always. I'm always in my North Shore Mega Max diaper with my with my onesies from Little Comforts, guys. I wish Little Comforts would let me advertise for them on my podcast show. I wish they did, guys. I wish they did. But anyway, I'm diapered up, padded up. So let's get on with the show, shall we? I want to talk about this article, guys. And this article comes from the Federalist. Even if the poll numbers are accurate, I don't care. I want my country back. I agree with this article. Here's a couple of reasons for this, guys. Poll numbers are just snapshots. They don't give the accurate view, ladies and gentlemen. They don't. All they do is give a snapshot of what's going on. And they take like just one-sided snapshot and then they just say, hey, this is a sample. Well, here's the thing, poll numbers can be skewed. And if any of you guys ever took statistics, namely in like high school or college, you all know this old analogy. There's lies, damn lies, and there's the statistics. So basically, like this, poll numbers can be skewed, poll numbers can be biased. To me, guys, I don't believe in poll numbers. Poll numbers are like skewered to one side over the other. They don't tell the whole story. They don't even tell like basically what's actually going on. They literally don't, guys. But that's why I tell people I don't believe in poll numbers. Poll numbers are biased. Poll numbers are skewered. And to me, guys, poll numbers don't work. So that's why I tell people whenever you see the legacy media publish a poll saying, oh, Trump's doing horribly, Trump's doing bad, I would question their poll. Who took the poll? Who were they sampling? Okay? I would look at that with a fine tooth comb. Or as I call it, guys, use the four skills of life that you learned, which are what, guys? Common sense, logic, reasoning, and critical thinking skills. You use that every time the legacy media publishes a poll, you're never going to go wrong. You're never going to stray away from it. You're always going to come in with the wider lens and say, "Are you sure about that? Are you sure about those numbers?" Because it seems like all these legacy media pundits try to say, oh, Trump's doing horribly. He's taking the country in the wrong direction and all this. Well, what happened in the last 4 years when they had Brandon, who nearly, what, destroyed this country and wiped this country to oblivion? What happened to that? I mean, come on. I mean, if you look at it, the Brandon's poll numbers were far worse, but then they were sugar coated to make people think that, oh, Brandon's doing good, when in reality, they were exponentially far worse. Okay? And I like this article from the Federalist too. Even if the poll numbers are accurate, I don't care. I want my country back. And I like this headline. If we're serious about saving America, we need a leader who's willing to be hated by the pundits, pollsters, and even some short-term minded Americans to do what's right. I like that. I like that headline for a couple of reasons, guys. There's a saying like this: if you have haters, you're doing something right, and if you don't have haters, you're doing something wrong. You know why? You know what I just said right there, folks? It's because it's like this: Trump has haters. As a result of that, he's doing something right. If he didn't have haters, he would be doing something wrong. So, what does it tell you guys? What does it tell you? Think about this. Think about what I just said. Think about the analogy of all that. If you're doing something right, okay, and you have people hating on you for it, it means you're going in the right direction. Okay? It means you're doing something right. But if you don't have haters, you're doing something wrong. So it means like this: these pollsters who often like to skewer the the story to make Trump look bad by making up these fake poll numbers by saying, "Oh, Trump is doing bad. Trump is doing horribly. Trump is doing all wrong and all this." You know what? He's doing it in the right direction, guys. He's doing this in the right direction. He is doing this, guys, because I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to tell you this, guys. Trump may have haters on the left, the legacy media, the Democrats, liberals, socialists, and communists, but he's doing something right. And to me, I don't care what poll number tells me. I don't care what poll says, because I've learned this from Dan Bongino, who became FBI deputy director. Who ran the most successful podcast show. He said like this, that like, don't believe the polls. The polls tell you a snapshot, not the whole story. And I'll bet you, go back to all his episodes on his podcast show. I guarantee you, he he will say it straight out. But the fact of the matter is, the poll numbers are biased. Poll numbers are skewed. Okay, people lie a lot about the polls. Okay, they're never truthful. They're never factful. That's why when it comes to polls during the election, I tell people like this: don't believe the polls. Pretend we are 10 points behind and we have to work hard to make up the extra 10 points. That's why when people say like this, why don't you believe the polls? Why don't you believe what people say? Why don't you like look at the polls? I look at the polls. I use my critical thinking, logic, reasoning, and common sense to realize those polls are biased. Those polls are slanted. And the fact of the matter is, guys, I don't trust any pundit. I don't trust the legacy media. I use the Ronald Reagan philosophy of trust but verify, which means we'll trust you, but we're going to verify your story to make sure it is accurate, it is truthful, and that we can see the sources that you're using. So that's my level of trust when it comes to the legacy media, the pollsters, the left, the socialists, the communists. That's my level of trust. But I will say this, guys: polls do lie. Polls are so slanted that it ain't even fucking damn funny anymore. That's why I don't believe in polls. That's why I sit there and I go like this: polls are like slanted. Polls are like media talking a story and not the story. So that's why I tell people, if you believe in polls, then I got a bridge in Brooklyn that I'm willing to sell to you right now. It's that simple. polls are polls are just telling a story and not the story. And I often ask this question: who did they poll? I didn't have nobody polling me, asking me my opinion. Did they poll Democrats? Did they poll leftists, liberals, socialists, communists, BLM, Antifa types, and the pro Hamas poll? Did they poll them? Or did they poll average Americans that they picked out from the telephone book or from social media or from any other sources? Did they poll that? That's why I ask those questions, because the more questions you ask, the more answers they're going to give, and the more answers they give, the more questions you're going to ask. Because I tell you this: question everything. Question everything that they write, that they say. Question it. Because you know why? Sooner or later, the truth is going to have to come out. The truth is going to have to come out in front of these people. And these people are not going to like it when the ugly truth comes out. Because I tell you, these people these people who lied to their teeth in front of American people, including lying about how, oh, Joe Biden is physically, mentally fit, when we can see his fucking goddamn mental decline in the last 4 years, and they ran him into the White House to run the country into the fucking damn ground. Yeah, yeah. This is why I don't believe whatever the liberal media says. I don't even listen to whatever they have to say. I don't even entertain them. I don't, guys. But I'll tell you this, man. As someone who reads the news all the time, who watches multiple news sources from both sides and even outside of the country to see what they say about us here, it's like you get a perspective that not even the legacy media will ever fucking understand. You really do, guys. And that perspective is why a lot of people like me sit there and go, yeah, I understand how the world works and how the world views us now, because I watch the news from countries like, say, the UK, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, Japan, South Korea, you know what I mean? Or Dubai and all that. Watch that, and then I get the idea of what they see. Yeah, but to me, guys, don't trust the polls. Whenever a whenever a legacy media, guys, like what, ABC, NBC, CBS, MSNBC, or the Communist News Network, aka CNN, or the failing New York Times, or the Washington Compost, whichever one comes out with a poll, always take it with a grain of salt, ladies and gentlemen. Always take it with a grain of salt. Take it with a grain of salt, because polls are just snapshots. They don't give real time feedback. They don't give real time data. Polls are just opinions, okay? Polls don't give actual facts, actual viewpoints. They don't. But to me, I don't trust a poll. I would never trust a poll, and you shouldn't either, guys, because I will tell you this: polls are just skewered. Polls are slanted. Anybody who puts a poll out saying, "Oh, Trump's this and this and this, and not doing this and this and this," I wouldn't trust them. I wouldn't trust them, and you shouldn't trust them either. You should take them at a face value and say, yeah, whatever. Yeah, right, dude. Yeah, you think that? I want to see some source behind that. I really do, guys. I really, really do. But anyway, let's talk about Trump's 100 days in office since January 20th, 2025. Let's talk about that. In the first 100 days of Trump's second term, ladies and gentlemen, he's accomplished a lot. Okay? He's done a lot than what Brandon has done. He's done a lot, ladies and gentlemen. And mind you guys, we still have a work in progress. I know there are people in the MAGA, conservative, libertarian, and Republicans who are going to say that, oh, it's not enough, it's not enough, it's not enough. I'll give you an example. Ever since we put Cash Patel, Dan Bongino, Pam Bondi, and Christy Noem in the positions that we're in, I know people are demanding that they want to see the Epstein files. I know people are demanding that they want to see arrests, prosecutions, and all that. It takes time, ladies and gentlemen. Things don't get done in an instant. It takes time. The legal process takes time. But I guarantee you, these people are working hard 24/7, 365 days a year. They're not even getting a break. Okay? They're not even getting time to go to the bathroom. Okay? But give them time. They're doing the work. They're getting stuff done. They got their marching orders from Trump. So give them time. They are getting it done. Like Dan Bongino said, and I believe he said it in one of his tweets, just because you don't see immediate arrests and prosecutions, it means they're working hard, working diligently, working behind the scenes, and they're working to get things done. So give them time. The fact that Trump has accomplished that in 100 days says a lot about Brandon and his fucked up Democrats. Yeah, it says a lot. But I will say this, guys. I will say this. This article from the Daily Signal, Trump's counter revolution at 100 days. The first 100 days of President Trump's second term have been stunningly transformative, even as the left has begun to mount some counteroffensive in the judiciary and the media. And I like this next paragraph. For a president to be successful, he must apply principles that one might apply to warfare or sports. The early days of presidency are about maintaining tempo, about keeping the ball moving on the issues that the president was elected to promote. Any kind of slowdown usually means the president's power to reform the system has come to an end, as this signals the natural shifting of the tide to the out of power party. So basically, it's like this, guys. The legacy media, the liberals, are trying all they can to stop Trump, and they're doing like what they call lawfare. Okay, lawfare is where they're going to the courts and trying to stop Trump. And mind you, guys, this lawfare's got to stop. This lawfare's got to end. All this all this judicial lawfare to try to impede, stop, and basically hamper President Trump and what he's doing. That's got to stop. That's got to end. Cash Patel, Dan Bongino, Christine Noem, Pam Bondi. There needs to be an investigation into all this lawfare, because to me, that is a RICO statute violation right there. That is basically corruption at its core. That is basically people trying to misuse the legal system to impede a president doing his lawful duty. and his constitutional duty. Basically, is like this: the left is trying to use the judges, especially at the federal level, to try to say to Trump, "Oh, you can't do this," which the left thinks that the judicial branch is the fourth branch of government when it isn't. There's only what, three branches of government? Yeah, which are what? Executive, legislative, and judicial. That's it. Three branches of government. The left thinks there's a fourth. You know what I mean? But there's no fourth. That's why it's like this. The left trying to impede Trump, these people are nuts. These people are nuts. These people are trying to stop Trump from doing what he is legally and constitutionally allowed to do. And to me, he's going full steam ahead. His his celebration of his first 100 days, that's success. That's success. You never see Brandon did that in his first 100 days. His first 100 days is what? Somebody changing his wet soil diaper? You know what I mean? That he only does business up till 10 o'clock, and then after that, he goes right to sleep. Yeah. Yeah. So tell me. So tell me, who had the best 100 days out there? Was it Was it Trump or Brandon? I'm gonna say Trump. Trump did a lot more than 100 days than he did. Although we are still having to deal with the with the left using judicial warfare to impede President Trump. But I think those cases should be dismissed. Those judges should be removed, and we should send a message that if you're going to impede a president's lawful order, you should be in federal prison as well. You should be removed from the bench and then be thrown in prison. You should, guys. You really should. But I say this: Trump, after his 100 days, is a success. He's doing the job that I voted for, that I want. I voted. Okay, that yes, I voted for that, and yes, I voted for that, and that's why he's doing it. But I'm telling you guys, Trump, after 100 days so far, is a man that's working overtime. A man that's trying to bring America back from the brink of economic collapse, which the left was trying to do. The left was trying to collapse the economy and collapse this country. Trump was trying to save it. Trump's trying to save the country and the economy. And I applaud him for that, man, because, yeah, we need our country back. We need our economy back. We need to bring manufacturing to America and say, hey, look, we need economic security, which means what happens if another massive pandemic and half the world population dies? Who's going to manufacture your diapers? Who's going to manufacture your onesie, your iPhone, your MacBook, your iPad? Or who's going to manufacture your lattes for Starbucks? This is why I'm all for economic security. And economic security is also national security. Because what happens if we have another global pandemic or we go into a global war like World War II? What happens? We don't have the manufacturing. We're dependent upon overseas. What happens if countries blockade all our shipments? Hey, it could happen, but that's why Trump is doing all he can to bring economic security back, make the country prosperous again. Make it where like this, where countries who ship the manufacturing overseas would be forced to bring the manufacturing back because they don't want to be tariff. I I agree with that, man. I totally agree. This is why Trump, after 100 days, is the most successful president there is. He even makes the OG of MAGA, which is what? President John F. Kennedy and President Ronald Reagan blush and go, "Ooh, I wish I could have done that when I was president." Yeah, but I will tell you, man, what Trump's doing right now, keep it up, Mr. President. Keep it up. I voted for this. Yes, I voted for this. I advocated for this. I endorsed it on my podcast show. Yes, keep it up, guys. Keep it up. Well, anyway, I want to talk about this story. And this talks about my home state of Connecticut. And this was highlighted on the Daily Caller. Headline: Connecticut lawmakers devise a plan to saddle taxpayers with soaring energy prices. And this was written by Audrey Strepped. And I'll read you the first two paragraphs. Connecticut Democrat lawmakers are proposing that taxpayers foot the bill for high utility costs in the state, which the policy experts who spoke with the Daily Caller News Foundation largely attributed to state-funded renewable energy projects. Senate Bill 1560 proposes removing the public benefits charge, a required surcharge on the utility customers' bills that fund state-mandated programs, including renewable energy investments, from the electricity bills. Instead, the state would borrow up to $2.4 billion by selling bonds, thus transferring the financial burden from utility customers to taxpayers. So basically, like this: my home state of Connecticut, which this article talks about, you have progressive Democrats who are all one party rule. There's hardly Republicans, a Republican in the state legislature. Yeah, this one party rule state of Connecticut, guys, where I live, they want to foister the the energy projects, okay, onto taxpayers like us. Even though we live in a state that has the highest utility rates, the highest tax rates, the highest property taxes, car taxes, and taxes galore, that they want to saddle us with more taxes, okay, that would bankrupt the entire state and force half the population to run and flee. I want to know, like this, Connecticut, what kind of marijuana are you fucking smoking to think that's a good idea? What kind of fucking marijuana are you smoking? That's what I want to know. The fact of the matter is, they want taxpayers of Connecticut to pay the Democrats what climate change initiatives, the solar, the renewable energy initiatives. We're going for broke here in Connecticut, guys. We're going for broke, folks. We're going for broke. And the fact of the matter is, guys, we're going we're going broke here. If they pass this in Connecticut, I'm gonna say like this: the economy, the population of this state will empty faster than they can replace it with illegals. It'll be like a literal ghost town. Some of the towns in Connecticut would be just neighborhoods. Yeah, some of the towns would. But the way the Democrats are pushing to foster more shit on us taxpayers, I don't know, man. I don't know, man. I don't know what asshole could survive living here. I tell people I live in Connecticut. I love the state, but I hate the politics. I hate the one party rule Democrats in the state where they're so anti-gun here that if you defended yourself in a self-defense shooting incident, they strip away your right to own a gun ever again. They really do, guys. They really do. But this is why it's like this. They want taxpayers to pay for like solar development, zero emission dock equipment, electric vehicles. I'm like, no man. No man. We're getting broke here in Connecticut. We're getting broke here. With all these taxes that they're foisting, no wonder why people are fleeing the state. No wonder why. No wonder why people are fleeing to states like what? Florida, Texas, Tennessee, the Carolinas, Virginia. No wonder why, ladies and gentlemen. No wonder why they're fleeing. Yeah, no wonder. Or they're fleeing to like libertarian states like what, New Hampshire? No wonder why. It's because Connecticut is being run by like a blue state progressive Democrats who live in upper class communities with well funded schools, well funded police departments, and well funded fire departments. But then they want to foster it on everybody else who lives in what? The working class suburbs and the inner cities? I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. I'm telling you, man. Connecticut is quickly becoming a county of California. It's basically a race between all the blue states, like what? California, Colorado, Minnesota, Illinois, what? New York, and every New England state except for New Hampshire. It's a race to see who can beat California in bankrupting and destroying their state. It's a race, ladies and gentlemen. It literally is, guys. It's a race. But I will say this, guys. I will say this. Connecticut's going broke. We're going for broke. And I don't know what's it going to take for people to wake up and smell the goddamn motherfucking damn coffee and realize that you're voting people who are destroying the state so fast. By the time all is said and done, there's nobody going to be left in Connecticut. Pretty much, guys. But believe me, the state is going for broke. The state is basically going for broke in the worst way. I would not be surprised, guys, if Democrats in Connecticut foister this onto taxpayers that you see for sale signs on every house, on every street in Connecticut. You see U-Haul trucks going to what? Red states like, let me see, Virginia, the Carolinas, Georgia, Alabama, Kentucky, Texas, Florida. Wouldn't be surprised, ladies and gentlemen. Wouldn't be surprised. Wouldn't be surprised. But the way things are going in Connecticut right now, with the one party rule state of Connecticut, I'm not surprised we're heading in that direction. And then you wonder why blue states are trying to replace residents with illegal immigrants and trying to shield them from ICE trying to deport them. You wonder why, guys. I tell people need to vote smarter, guys. People need to stop voting Democrat. Voting Democrat is like shooting yourself in the damn foot every day. It is, guys. It is. But what Connecticut Democrats want to do, and if you read that bill carefully, we're broke. We're broke. We're bankrupt. We're gonna be broke before I even get put in cryonic suspension, guys. we're going to be broke that way. But I'm going to say like this. This is why Democrats are hell bent on destroying the state before they even get kicked out of office. This is why I tell people I live in the blue state of Connecticut. Yes, I know we have assholes and idiots that vote these people in, but we're doing all we can to get rid of these idiots. Yeah, pretty much, guys. Pretty much. But anyway, I want to talk about this article from Post Millennial that showed up on my feed. Facebook blocked Charlestown, West Virginia City Council candidate's page with no further appeal. Okay? And I'll read you the headline. Courtney Cannell is running for city council in Charlestown, West Virginia, but you wouldn't know that from her Facebook page, which has been locked. The candidate for Ward 3 told the Post Millennial that she woke up late last week to discover her Facebook page was disabled. A message told her that she was in violation of community guidelines and she was accused of impersonating herself. Ladies and gentlemen, this is why I don't go on Facebook. Facebook did the same thing. They accused me of doing fraud. Okay? And mind you, I'm not a high profile conservative. So I don't have like political and social clout to force Facebook to give me back my page. So, mind you, I don't. But she had the political clout that she called on what? Political pundits, especially the conservative ones, spoke up loud enough and Facebook relented and got her page back, which was a couple hours ago, and I'll post that in the link in the description. But for me, I'm just a low level peon peasant who runs a podcast show and all that. And this happened, mind you, in like what, December last year when Facebook accused me of what? Being a fraudulent account for no reason, didn't give me the right to an appeal, and then boom, blocked me from Instagram, blocked me from Facebook, had to fight hard to get Instagram back, with many times having to submit my fucking driver's license to prove who I am. Folks, this is why I advocate so hard, ladies and gentlemen, that get away from Facebook. Facebook is dying. Facebook is fast approaching becoming MySpace 2.0. Why do you think, ladies and gentlemen, Facebook is being sued by the FTC? The FTC is suing Facebook because they monopolized what? They brought out what? Instagram and WhatsApp because they were trying to stay relevant? Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much, guys. That's they were trying to start off being made into the next MySpace 2.0. But I'm gonna say like this: the FTC lawsuit that's going on right now, that's accelerating that because if they lose the lawsuit, ladies and gentlemen, and if they lose it on appeal, once they sell Instagram and WhatsApp, they're fucking done. They're finished. They're finished as a company. That means they will fade into being the next what? MySpace 2.0, the next GeoCities, like that. Trust me. I often advocate people this is that don't use Facebook. Go on alternative social media platforms. Ladies and gentlemen, the only legacy platforms that I have, the legacy media, are what? X, Instagram, and YouTube. That's it. Only three. The rest, I have alternative social media platforms like Gab, Getter, MeWe, Minds, Rumble, Truth Social, Vero Social, and Blue Sky. I have Blue Sky because I want to spy on the left and see what they're doing. So I have it for that, but I have it just mainly for arts, and that's it. But I always advocate never rely on one platform. Never. Because then you become subject to the whims of that platform. And if they don't like you for shit or they accuse you of shit, which Mark Zuckerberg did, and which sometimes I think he should be punched in the mouth and tossed in prison, you know? That's why I have alternative social media platforms. That's why I have all my alternatives. I diversify my social media presence. I don't rely on one platform. Now, this person, Courtney Cannell, which I tweeted her about, I told her, look, don't rely on one platform. You rely on one platform. That's why you. That's why you're in this mess that you're in. I've seen political candidates, what, like Donald Trump, he has his own Truth Social. Man, that's becoming as popular as Elon's X and X right here. That is basically equally being popular. That is. But I tell people, don't rely on one platform. Like me, for example, yes, I have multiple backups on Instagram. Yes, I have them. But I tell people this. I also have an alternative backup on Vero Social as well. So in case if Facebook decides to take my page down, I go like this. Hey, I have Vero Social as a backup. So if you want to still keep track or follow me, come join me on Vero Social. That's why on my podcast show I advertise for Minds, because Minds is a free speech alternative to Facebook. Yeah, we believe in freedom of speech. We believe in you having the right to say whatever you want without the fear of censorship. We really do. We really do. But the fact of the matter is, guys, I don't put faith and stock in the legacy social media. Yes, Twitter/X used to be the legacy media, but Elon Musk has brought it back, and yes, they are doing good. But I do say like this, guys. I firmly believe that people should have options. And I've told this person, and I even tweeted to her and said, look, you should have an alternative as a backup. Okay? Get on Trump's Truth Social. Get on Minds. Get on MeWe. Get on Getter. Get on Rumble. Telling you guys, I have multiple layers of backups that I don't rely on one social media platform, guys. I don't. And I've learned that lesson so many times on Facebook, okay, and on YouTube, that I don't rely on one platform. Okay. That's why, ladies and gentlemen, for example, my podcast show, when I put the video version of it, I I post it on both YouTube and Rumble. Because here's the reason for that. If YouTube decides to put a strike on me and take it down, I just laugh at them in their face. I just send a reply where to say ha 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 ha. Try me on rumble.com, which means I upload all my podcast shows on Rumble as a backup. Yeah, that's why I tell people this. Always have multiple layers of backup, because you never know what's going to happen. You never ever know what could happen. You could wake up one fucking day and find out that, oh, Facebook took your page down because they don't like you for who you are, or you like something that they don't like. Yeah. That's why I tell people, guys, on my podcast show, I post all my episodes on all the social media platforms out there. I have diversified my presence. I've made it so people can't take me down easily, because I've had experience when it was then Twitter and had a bunch of trans cult tranny leftists try to take me down. Same thing on Facebook. They did the same thing. But I've learned those lessons and I've diversified my presence. I've diversified to the point where they can't take me down because they won't go to those platforms. They will never last on those platforms like Gab, Getter, MeWe, Minds, Parlor, Rumble, Truth Social. Okay, they won't go on those because all those are what conservative, libertarian leaning, who post memes that would make a leftist cry in the corner. Yeah, that's why I tell people diversify your social media presence. Don't rely on one platform. This one girl from Charlestown, West Virginia, who's relying on Facebook, saying that, oh, this is where the vast majority of people are. I'm telling her this is where the vast majority of the boomers, because the younger generation aren't going to be on Facebook. They're going to be on what? Snapchat, TikTok, and all that. Yeah, but that's why I tell people diversify your social media. In fact, in all my podcast episodes, I advertise for Minds because I tell people, look, diversify your presence. Don't rely on one. What happens if Facebook goes away or if Facebook shuts down? Where are you gonna go for social media? Where are you gonna go? I know for me, I have my alternative social media platforms, and I still keep posting. I still keep posting, even if Facebook gets shut down or Instagram gets shut down. I still keep posting. Yeah, same thing. I have alternatives to WhatsApp, like what? Telegram, Signal. You know. Yeah, I have alternatives. That's why I always tell people always have alternatives because when shit hits the fucking fan, you're gonna be the ones still posting while everyone else is out there crying and bawling their motherfucking ass that I can't post on Facebook. Oh. But me, I'm gonna be like this. That's why I have alternative social media, guys. It becomes like my in case of emergency break glass. There you go. And it's also how we all have like insurance for the car. Same thing. It's insurance my three legacy social media platforms. In case shit happens, not fucking worried. Although with X, I did pay a subscription for them, and yeah, that's why I think that's the direction things are going. It really is. It really is. But like I said, guys, the story should be a highlight and a lesson that don't rely on one social media platform. Don't rely on Facebook because Facebook right now, the only people that are left there are the aging Gen Xers and millennials. You're not seeing Gen Z on there. You're not. You're only seeing what? Gen X and millennials, and that's it. Pretty much. Pretty much, guys. But that's why I left Facebook. Not going back anytime soon. And you'll never see me back on their platform. You'll never ever see me back on the platform. I will I will always highlight alternative social media platforms, promote them, and even encourage my listeners to sign up for alternative social media platforms. I will always do that, guys, because I'll tell people alternative social media platforms are gaining traction, are realizing that you can't rely on one platform for everything. You can't. Because if one platform takes you out, where are you going to go? Where are you going to go? It's a lesson right there. It is. It's a lesson. And I tell people it's a lesson that people need to learn and people need to realize. It really is. And I hope y'all learn that to heart here. I hope y'all do, guys. I really do. Wow, that was a damn good show today, man. That was a damn well good show. But anyway, I thank you guys for listening to Nikki's World. I'm Nikki, your host. I gotta go do a diaper change. I will see y'all soon. Bye for now. You just listened to an episode of Nikki's World. Thanks for listening. We'll see y'all soon. Bye for now.